Good afternoon, everyone. So glad to see everybody here. Are we ready? Yes, it is. And I'm so happy that our grandson is here to talk about his major and what he's learning at the University of Miami. And just one little interesting fact about him is he's been very devoted to the environment since he was a very young child. When he decided at age 4 he was a vegetarian, and he has never deviated from that. So he came in with that energy. So I'd like to introduce Carson Brooks.
Well, thanks for the introduction. Today I'll be talking a little bit about my major and kind of what I'm learning here at the University of Miami. There it goes. So I'm in the second semester as a freshman at UM, and I am majoring in what's called ecosystem science and policy. So what that is basically a mixture of environmental science. So I learn about the earth, kind of how it works, and anthropocentric occurrences that are affecting the planet right now, meaning human-caused issues. And I also learn a lot about policy, so how can we fix these things that are happening to us. And so I took this quote from the UM website, and I think it really summarizes my major very well. It says, "The goal of the ECS program is to educate the next generation of environmental leaders by providing students with a broad background in environmental issues from a variety of perspectives." So a lot of people, I tell my major, like, okay, that's great, but what are you going to do with it? So there are a lot of jobs right now. There's been a 10% increase in the United States just since 2021, and there's currently a 2% shortage of sustainability workers. So what I kind of want to do, companies are hiring right now for sustainability officers. So what you do is you make their company more sustainable, and you kind of inform them how to make that transition. And then eventually I want to start my own business that helps the environment in some way. So I don't know what that is yet, but I also really like this quote from the UM website. "The growing number of green career opportunities allow ECS graduates to focus on the overall well-being of people, the planet, and our combined prosperity, as well as assuming responsibility of sustainability leaders." Oh, wrong one. So this is kind of a brochure, but I'll go through that later. So first, I kind of want to give like a quick overview of what's happening to us and what climate change is. So basically, the basics is obviously all energy comes from the sun in the form of light radiation. Most of this radiation comes through the atmosphere, but it is absorbed by the planet. But some of this energy is actually reflected back into space, and a lot of it is actually trapped by greenhouse gases. And I don't know if you all know what greenhouse gases are, but it works as like a greenhouse does. So as a greenhouse, light is let in, and a lot of it is reflected, but the glass actually traps the heat inside, which is why the plants are able to grow very well in there. But greenhouse gases have a similar effect. So it traps the heat in the planet, and obviously with increasing greenhouse gases, we are getting warmer. So here's a little bit of data that shows obviously that it is being caused by carbon and greenhouse gases. Keep in mind the time frame here. This is in about 2,000 years. Scientists are able to take ice core data. So each year, a new layer of ice in the Arctic freezes over, and it traps air bubbles inside. So scientists are able to unfreeze this ice, and they're able to tell the exact CO2 concentration each year. And you can see that with an increase in CO2 concentration, obviously the temperature increases as well. So there's a direct correlation here. Again, here's some more ice core data. Keep in mind the time frame again, 800,000 years here. And obviously it's a little bit normal for it to fluctuate, but as you can see at the very end here, we are pretty high in terms of concentration. This quote from my environmental history class really stuck with me, and I think shows very well how much energy we really burn. "The energy trapped by man-made global warming pollution is now the equivalent to exploding 400,000 Hiroshima atomic bombs per day, 365 days a year. That's a lot of energy. So obviously this has effects on our planet, and the first one is obviously we get more intense weather. So if you're familiar with the water cycle, obviously there's evaporation, which then precipitates, and then it returns back to the sea. But with warmer temperatures, we are getting more evaporation, so more precipitation. And you would think that's a good thing, but we are in drought actually worldwide. So what's happening is this water is evaporating a lot quicker, so what we're getting is a lot of flooding. Flooding worldwide that is catastrophic. And obviously here in Florida too, we're really concerned about sea level rise. Have any of you heard of the Doomsday Glacier? No? I was really surprised to hear about this, especially because I am very into climate change. But this glacier is roughly the size of Florida, and there is, I just turned on, okay. There is an ice shelf that is holding it in place, and it is hanging on by fingernails. So scientists think that within 5 years, this glacier could fall into the ocean, and it could raise sea levels by 2 feet instantly, and worst case scenario by 10 feet. And this happens in 5 years. So I was very shocked. It's in Antarctica, or then I think North Pole. I don't know which one, but it's up there. And if it falls in, it could be pretty bad. And I don't know why I've never heard about this, why it's not talked about more. I was very surprised to learn about this.
Is this the one where they're diving underneath and they're finding it's soft underneath?
Yeah.
And they realize they went way,
That it's gonna,
right?
yes.
And then they found all this.
Yeah, it is that one. Yep. So obviously here is Florida. If 10 feet of sea level rise were to happen, see Miami is mainly in shallow water there. The Everglades would be flooded. Bad. We don't want that. Obviously, there's a host of other concerns. Habitat destruction. Scientists believe that we are currently in the 6th mass extinction. I think my grandma has, more than 1 million species face extinction right now. We are also worried about heat waves. I had a teacher from Iran, and he said that over the summer it was 165 degrees. And so people all over the Middle East are dying of heat waves. We have drought, reduced food production, pollution, everything. So the science is settled. 97% of climate scientists agree that human activity is driving a climate crisis across the Earth. We know it's happening and we know why. It's carbon. So first, how do we get here? Obviously, it all started with the Industrial Revolution. Before this, human populations were relatively stable. We weren't overpopulated. We didn't have a negative effect on the environment. So this was a transition from an agricultural economy to a production-based economy where we were all focused on, increasing our GDP and everything. Living standards did improve, but environmental standards really diminished. So here, this kind of describes industrialization. It's called the theory of demographic transition. So in stage 1, think about countries in Africa who are pre-industrial, who are an agricultural-based economy. Stage 2 is when countries start to go through industrialization. As you can see, the birth rate is still very high, and the death rate starts to fall because we get medical advances. So we get a huge population boom. Think about China, India. And then stage 3 is where countries like the United States, Western Europe and all that, where we start to mellow out the birth rate and the death rate, and we start to get a stable population. But what we need to find out is how can we go from stage 1 to stage 3 without going through stage 2, having the huge population boom and having the pollution that comes along with it. Because this is what happens with stage 2, is you get some of the most polluted cities in the world. Here are countries currently going through the industrial process. These are only a couple, but if you look at the list, it's all China and India have some of the most polluted cities in the world. So we need to figure out how to eliminate that stage 2. So this is known as the conventional development model. It focuses on industrialization and an increase in GDP per capita, which you'll see further in the slide is quite problematic if we just focus on increasing GDP. As you can see, social economic trends, everything goes up. We have the real GDP, we have world population, production, everything just increases. This is what we call hockey stick growth. So you can see all the way back from the year 1000, our population stays relatively stable. I know our GDP per capita stays relatively stable, but then as we go through industrialization, it goes up exponentially. And what we want to ask is this sustainable? You know, politicians are always saying, oh, well, we're going to increase GDP. Is this a good thing? I think no, because it leads to overproduction and consumption. We need to figure out how to not just improve the GDP, but also improve the well-being of people and the environment as well. Here, this was kind of a shocking graph to me. Even though in the United States, the GDP per capita has gone up a lot, the average American is still, their pay has not increased at all. As you can see, 90% of Americans are in the blue line at the bottom there, when really the top percent has really just benefited from this increase in GDP. So obviously in the 1960s and 70s, scientists began to realize that the conventional development model causes major environmental issues. Here are two people that really started the environmental movement, Rachel Carson and Donella Meadows. She wrote a book on kind of the limits of growth and what we should be thinking about in terms of growth. Is growth good? So these two women were very influential. That. Obviously, Earth system trends. Everything is trending pretty badly. Methane's going up, surface temperature, ocean acidification, which is where there's too much carbon in the ocean. Obviously, loss of tropical forest land. Everything is just on a bad trend right now. In the 1970s and 80s, social scientists began to realize that the conventional development model also creates inequalities. This is a graph of Gini coefficient. The Gini coefficient measures inequality within countries. So 0 being no inequality and 100 being, 100 being the most inequality you can have. As you can see, even throughout industrialization, the Gini coefficient has gone up, so inequality has increased. In the 1980s, scientists also realized that governments worldwide did not improve as expected. And that is proven here. As you can see, this is a corruption perception index. A lot of people think their governments are corrupt. You can see a lot of red. Even in the United States, there is an orange. So this is problematic. So what's your conclusion, right? We need a new development model. The conventional development model is not working for us, for the people, for the environment. We need a new model. So the United Nations came together under Our Common Future and the World Commission on Environmental Development in 1983, and they assessed the problems with this conventional development model, and they came up with sustainable development. I think this is a really exciting concept. It's a political process by which human societies improve the well-being of their members, simultaneously improving economic prosperity, social inclusion, effective public government, also while protecting the environment. This concept received a lot of support from countries worldwide, and a lot of countries are adapting this development model, which is really good to see. They have a World Summit on Sustainable Development every year, or not every year, but they have over the last 20 or 30 years, and each time they kind of improve upon the concept and they come up with new goals, and these are the most current goals for the sustainable development. So no poverty, zero hunger, good health and well-being, quality education, gender equality, clean water. I can't see that one.
Affordable clean energy.
Yeah, my vision's not. Decent work. And, anyway, oh, okay. There we go. Yeah, that's helpful. Industry, innovation, infrastructure, reduced inequality, sustainable cities, responsible consumption, climate action, life below water, life on land, peace, justice, and partnership. So, I mean, these goals are great. If you were to live in a world like this is amazing. The UN wants these done by 2030. I don't think that's reasonable, but I do love the goals and I love the ambition. And every country is trying to adopt these goals. And you can actually, there's a website where you can see what each country is doing for each of the goals and how everyone's doing. The United States, we're doing good on some of them, but anything climate related, we are not doing great on. So a good solution to what we have right now, this issue, is a circular economy. And a circular economy really promotes those sustainable development goals. Products are made to last longer. There's a lot of reusing and recycling materials, and it eliminates pollution and waste and no single-use items. So I have a short video here that really explains it well, but I think this is a really exciting concept, and a lot of countries throughout Europe are beginning to adopt the circular economy, which focuses not just on growth. It focuses on well-being of the people, the environment, and everything. So, but yeah, that's the video.
Hi, Alex here. Today's video is about circular economy. It is a term that we hear a lot these days. I was asked many times to make a video about it, so here it is. I will explain what we mean by circular economy. I will go through all the things we can do to go from our current economy to a circular one, and I will use many examples. If you stay until the end, I will share a book with you that you can read to learn more about it. You will see there is way more to it than just recycling. Okay, let's get drawing. When my son was 3 years old and asking his mommy what was this circular economy thing she was working on, here is what she told him. It is when everything is healthy food for something else. So simple and sweet. I loved it. In other words, it means running the economy like nature runs its own business. Plants use carbon dioxide and nutrients to grow and produce oxygen. Animals use oxygen and create carbon dioxide and nutrients. Nothing is wasted. It is a closed-loop system. Circular economy is generally opposed to the linear economy, take, make, waste, we have been running for many years. Some people also use the term cradle to cradle as opposed to cradle to grave. As explained in my triple bottom line video, the economy is part of society, which is part of the environment. You can click here if you want to watch this video. Now let's look at the economy. We can split into two categories the things that we need to run into closed loops. Technical materials, biological materials. Technical materials have this typical life cycle. Raw materials are mined, the product is manufactured, then it is transported to be used until the end of its life. We often tend to think about the end of life and the importance of recycling, and this is true. But for our economy to be circular, there are many things we can do before the end of life. It starts with using resources that are already extracted. Say my product needs copper. It is best to mine copper that is not used anymore, that we also call post-consumer, as opposed to mining some new one from the ground. Especially when you know that 1. Copper is predicted to be mined out worldwide by 2040, and 2. Processing recycled copper uses only 10 to 20% of the energy it takes to process new copper from virgin ore. When manufacturing my product, I can design it so it can easily be dismantled and the copper can easily be recycled next time. I can also manufacture my product so it lasts a long time, so it can be maintained and repaired. I can design it so it uses as little energy as possible. This TED video uses a great example of a tea kettle and the fact that during commercial break of a popular TV show, England has to buy nuclear power from France because millions of people go to the kitchen at the same time to boil an entire 2-liter kettle to make 1 cup of tea. Once a product cannot be used anymore, then it needs to be collected and recycled. Here comes an important question. Does the recycled material maintain its quality to be used for similar applications? or is it downcycled into a material that has a poorer quality? Downcycled was a term from the book Cradle to Cradle. You can find a link in the description below. Remember, in a circular economy, everything is healthy food for something else. Nothing goes to landfill. Biological materials are farmed or collected and then possibly processed and transported before reaching the consumer. Once consumed, they can be used to create biogas, biochemicals, or be composted. Finally, they can go back to nature to restore it. But again, in a circular economy, nothing goes to landfill. Two transition strategies can be very helpful as we're trying to create a circular economy: substitution and dematerialization. Substitution is about using different resources to achieve the same goal. For example, the world is running out of lithium. So, unless we can recycle lithium batteries more efficiently, sodium-ion batteries might be a better option for car manufacturers in the future. Dematerialization refers to using less of a resource to serve the same economic function in society. As an example, Interface is the world's largest designer and maker of commercial modular carpet. But they don't sell the carpet anymore. Their customers buy the service of having carpet on their floor. Interface is in charge of maintaining and repairing the carpet, and they do that very efficiently because it is their specialty and they control the entire process. Using tiles, they can replace only the ones that need replacing. The old tiles go back to the factory to be recycled, where new tiles are made with 98% recycled or bio-based content. How is that for almost circular? Of course, creating a circular economy is only one piece of the sustainability puzzle, and many other aspects have to be taken into account to get 100% sustainable. Climate change, sustainable energy, sustainable agriculture, social sustainability, etc. As promised in the beginning, here's a great book I recommend if you want to learn more. It is very well put together and it talks about circular economy in the modern age. I will put a link in the description below. If you found this video useful, please like it, subscribe, and click the bell to be notified when we post new videos. You can help us make more videos to learn about sustainability for free by making a pledge on our Patreon page or by giving us a tip on our website sustainabilityillustrated.com. Thank you to all our patrons, and I will see you in the next video.
Where does the poop go? Really? If someone's backed up and constipated for 2-3 days or...
Oh, that's funny. Nice little transition there. Well, anyway, that was a good explanation of kind of how a circular economy works, and I think it's a really exciting concept and what we kind of have to be thinking about instead of just growth all the time, because that's not always the answer. So, but yeah, anyway, any questions?
I have a question. Do you hear anything about what corporations do about the whole situation?
Yeah, I mean, obviously they have a really big they have a big impact. So I haven't quite gotten to that yet. I had an environmental policy course and we talked a little bit about what they are responsible for, but unfortunately a lot of corporations, they won't do something unless they're forced to. So a lot of it is in the power of the government, to be honest. Otherwise, we wouldn't have the issue that we have, right? If corporations really did what's best for everybody, they would start doing sustainable practices, but they're not, so.
I just have a question. You were saying that circular economy is very prevalent in Europe.
Yep.
And I would think Canada also.
I don't know quite about Canada, but I would think so. I know Netherlands is the leader right now in terms of a circular economy. They're very close to closing the loop. But Europe is the leader. I'm not sure about Canada. I think they are better probably than the United States, but.
What about the United States?
Yeah, not us quite yet. We have committed kind of to the Sustainable Development Goals. So I do think eventually we will transition, hopefully, to a circular economy, but it is still a very new concept, so I don't know if it's really received support in the U.S. We're very focused on growth here.
Yes, there are a lot of countries in Europe where the manufacturer of a product, it's their cost up front and factored into the cost of consumer for how to dispose of that particular item.
Yeah, that's a smart way to go about it.
What do you call that? It's a name for it, but anyway, it doesn't exist here,
No.
but it could.
Yeah. A lot of things that Europe is doing could exist here. They're doing it very well over there. But, yeah.
What can we do as individuals to help this process along?
Yeah, obviously that's a hard question. There are small steps you can take personally, like eliminating your waste and all that. But really, the answer that because I always ask this question to professionals that come to the university, and they always just say, vote. That's the best way. Vote. I mean, it's serious. Use your voice that you have. Vote. Yes. And truly do your research, too. If this candidate is going, it's not necessarily party lined, but will this candidate do what I want for the environment? That's really, policy is the only way you can make big change. So, yeah. Yes.
Carson, what is your sense of the University of Miami? How ecologically minded are the students that you go attend class with?
So obviously in my major, we're all very ecologically minded, but the university overall, I definitely have some friends that I'm like, wow, what are you doing? Like, they don't know how to recycle. They're doing a new plastic water bottle every day. But overall, the university is doing a lot. They have a sustainability report, and they want to be 100% sustainable. All the new buildings that they build are going to be LEED certified. They're very focused on it. The university itself. And they have eco reps in every dorm, so these reps can tell you how to do everything more environmentally friendly. They send out an environmental newsletter through email every month, and every time before we leave for break, they'll remind you, unplug your refrigerator, turn your lights off, turn your AC off. They'll send out emails to do that. So I would say they're very good about it. The student body, it really depends. A lot of people just aren't informed, right? So, yeah.
Are there a lot of other universities that are teaching this class that you're taking?
I don't know.
When you said vote, everybody says vote along
Yeah.
the entire United States, then we have a chance.
I know, and education is really what we need to be going at here. Like, why is history required but not something about climate change? I know. I know, and
I took the course at William and Mary, and I did philosophy, and they got environmental law degree.
Oh, wow.
Lewis and Clark.
Oh, wow, that's amazing.
Top school
Uh-huh.
into environmental law because of its association.
Sure.
In fact, working with the lobbyists in Washington. But the question I have is, I heard that with enough money, you can really recycle any type of plastic.
Sure.
With enough money. But then the problem is, if you're a manufacturer of some sort of plastic good, it's cheaper for you to start with raw material, polyvinyl chloride, all
Yeah.
that sort of thing,
Yeah.
than it is to use the pellets that are from the recycling industry. So something has to change in the financial structure here, and I would think, I don't know if it could be consumer driven or if it has to be consumer and government. What's your thoughts on that?
I would say for something like that, I think it would be very helpful if the government were able to subsidize. We subsidize a lot of things. Obviously, we still subsidize oil. So if we were to subsidize, maybe making plastic out of the pellets, that'll make it cheaper for then companies to go and make the plastic out of the pellets instead of making it from raw material. So yes, it can be consumer driven if there's enough people who want to make a change, but a lot of this stuff does have to be changed through policy.
Tell them what happened in Miami, the plastic bags.
Yeah, so University of Miami is in Coral Gables, and Coral Gables tried to ban plastic bags, but it went through and everything, and then the state of Florida told them they couldn't do it. So plastic bags are not banned.
They're in a huge drought, of course, or
Yeah.
and then just they had the floods because it had been dry. Everybody was like, it hasn't rained here in 7 years.
Yeah.
We were there, and then when we got back, it's completely flooded because everything is so dry.
Everything's dry and the soil can't hold the water.
The water,
Yep.
so everything flooded.
Yep.
But out there, they were already very conscious about it because, we would go into stores and stuff, and they wouldn't ban plastic bags, but they were encouraging people to bring their own reusable bags.
Yeah, of course.
By saying, well, we'll give you plastic bags, but you have to pay 50 cents.
Yeah. Yep. That's how it is in Puerto Rico. You have to buy the plastic bag.
It's like, you don't ban, but
You can.
find
You can, yeah, you can find loopholes and say, well, if you can pay for it if you still want it. I know Colorado banned styrofoam and plastic by 2025, so that was a great thing. But yeah, that was really frustrating about the Coral Gables trying to ban. Yes.
Are you optimistic?
That is a great question. I am personally optimistic. I think we can turn it around here. I think there is starting to be a lot of awareness and a lot of laws are being passed, and I think that's very encouraging. I also personally just think the only way forward is to be optimistic. You have to have faith that things will change. And so, yeah. But yeah, I am. I think there's a lot of great people out there that are trying to do good things.
So I heard that one of the problems with the ocean plastic is 20 years ago there were more laws that made it stiffer penalties if there was dumping of, trash in the ocean. And like your ship, your fishing fleet could be put out, lose its license or whatever. But now that the laws are very lenient and the amount of plastics that have gone in the ocean just in the last 5 years and then the micronization of them is just going exponentially.
Yeah, it's out of control.
So what needs to happen here? Is it a worldwide thing? Or
Yeah, that would have to be more of an international agreement.
is it the UN? Or who is doing
Yeah, the UN's hard because they're not, really a governing body. They can set out guidelines and they can give you resources, but they can't really, they can hold you accountable in some ways, but it would need to be like an international treaty where you would say like, oh, or you could get the countries that pollute the most together and they could maybe come up with a treaty or hold each other accountable. Countries have to hold each other accountable. That's the only way to really enforce it. Yeah. Yes.
Beyond voting, do you have any corporations or companies that you've come across in your studies that you feel like are very forward thinking, and as consumers we can kind of keep our eyes out for them?
Oh, that's a good question. I did like a whole presentation on that, so I can show. Yeah, I don't know the corporations off the top of my head, but I do know there's a lot of companies not to support, but it's kind of hard.
Where do you find that blacklist?
Yeah, actually, you can look it up anywhere. I'm sure if you looked up corporations that don't support, it comes up with like a whole list of companies that do horrible things to the environment. But yes, sustainable consumerism is very important. But that's also hard because you have to trust the company and what they're doing. A lot of companies will put a label on there, say, oh, we're doing this, but there's no one to say, oh, they're doing that. So.
Which organization is evaluating those companies?
I'm not sure. I know B Corp is a good one. If you're a B Corp, I don't know exactly. I need to look over the presentation again. I did do it, but I can show it to you guys at the end here if you want to come over and look. I can show you the presentation, or at least the companies and the labels to look for.
I do feel like there's a lot more companies, just from my own experience in the last 15 years, that have gone green that I can purchase from, because I remember when you were really, really little, and I was like, oh, I'm going to do like all green products in my home. I want everything that's safe, detergent.
Absolutely.
I'm going back into the environment.
Yeah.
I want to buy all these, like, not just for the environment, but for me. I was like,
Yeah.
we're absorbing all these chemicals.
Exactly.
Too. So I started with myself, and then I was like, okay, well, these are good for the environment too, but it was so difficult 15 years ago to find anything, and if you did, it was so expensive. I was like, I will spend $1,000 a month just trying to put shampoo, conditioner,
Yeah.
toothpaste in my house, laundry detergent, and I was like, I can't afford this. But
Yeah.
now I'm noticing there's a lot more companies doing it. You can find it readily available, even at Walmart.
Yeah, it's great.
Even Walmart's making like generic versions of stuff, and you turn the bottle around, they've got it all on there.
Yep.
It's wonderful, and it's more affordable.
Yep.
A little bit of impact since the pandemic started. I was like, well, people are going to back off of this a little bit more, but I've noticed now that it's more available, more people are buying it, and more companies are doing it. So
Yep.
like, oh, people want this. So now they're hopping on the bandwagon.
Yeah.
I've seen a huge change. I can basically pick out anything either on Amazon that's
Yeah, very true. Amazon's great too for that. Yeah.
I've noticed a huge change.
Yeah, and that's a reason to be optimistic, right? Is you are seeing the changes. Yeah.
You talked about sustainable consumerism, and one thing I saw on Facebook a while back was you don't realize companies have layers upon layers upon layers.
Yes. Yeah.
Has dozens of companies under your umbrella.
Mhm.
Procter & Gamble, I didn't know they sold Pringles potato chips.
Mhm.
They're selling detergent.
Yeah, no, exactly. There's all these layers. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Once you start looking, you start uncovering layer upon layer, so that's something we should all try to do as consumers, is be mindful of who we're buying from.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. It is very tough to, because yeah, all these companies have big umbrellas, and that's to get around the monopoly law, right?
Billionaire
Yeah.
multinational corporations that are gobbling up the small
Yeah.
people who don't even know it.
Yeah, there's also a great, like, there's a great graph that shows, like, the umbrella of companies and what they own and stuff. Yeah.
You see Nestle, and there's like dozens.
Yeah, all these, yeah, exactly.
Almond milk owned by Pepsi-Cola.
Yeah, exactly. No, seriously. No, seriously. Yes.
Why are there mostly females here?
I know.
Is it also,
Is there a gender problem in the environment thing? Guys don't care, or guys
Yeah, I would say,
issue, or they're making money and it's a woman's problem, you're raising your kids in
well,
the best.
women have a more motherly, caring character, so.
Is there a gender issue in your department?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of my professors have been female, and a lot of my classes are female. I know. I think it's a mindset too, absolutely.
I really do, because I feel like you said, like you're raising kids and
Yeah.
you tend to be like, okay,
More
what
motherly,
do
caring,
what are
yeah.
my future kids and grandkids gonna have to deal with?
Mhm.
There's more, you know,
Well,
we're
it's mostly
thinking
men,
more ahead of
Yeah.
mostly men that are the politicians that are gonna change.
Exactly.
Right.
I know.
You know, what are these ladies gonna do?
That's the
You
positive.
know, they
thing,
could
is
get
that-
elected and, you know, there definitely seems to be, every green team I've ever seen seems all women.
I know.
But there's a lot more women being involved in the government now.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's what I would say is one of the best things in the whole world.
Absolutely.
Not just in sustainable, it's just the involvement of women in the government.
Oh, yeah.
Is gonna be our saving grace.
I think so, 100%. 100%. Yep.
Just want to point out that in the 1970s, the great song about materialism was Hotel California, where you check in, but you can't check out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Once you're materialistic, it's hard to give it up.
It is. And I was talking about this with my grandmother today. You know, you drive around, you see all these storage units. I don't get that. Like, why are you going to buy so much stuff that you need a storage unit that you're going to put it away, and when are you going to look at it again? You know, that's just like an example of overconsumption, right?
and everybody buys new.
Yeah, exactly. Nobody.
Drift or heat,
I know.
reason,
I know.
that stuff.
Yeah.
the closets of in-houses 100 years ago were tiny, even when I was growing up.
Uh-huh.
100 years ago. You know, the closet was like this big, right?
Yeah.
You know, and so you couldn't have much stuff.
Yeah.
You didn't have, unless you were very wealthy and you had a mansion.
Sure.
And then even, say, 100 years further back, you didn't even have a closet. So, you know,
Yeah.
part of it is the way we built the diet.
Yeah, it's just like an overall mindset. Oh, we want more, we want more. It's just like our mindset that we grow up with, right? So, yeah, of course.
What I was going to add to what she was saying is I started all of this like 40 years ago.
Wow.
I started because of animal testing,
Sure.
and all the products that did not test on animals were also very environmentally friendly.
Mm-hmm.
But there was a very small pocket to choose from. But what I find now, there's a bigger pocket, but it's because there's now money to be made. If you take like Clorox, they now have a line of environmentally friendly products. No
They do.
plastics,
Yep.
But they still produce,
The regular ones, yeah.
you know, and so they know there's money over here, but there's still money over here. So the bottom line is still driving it. But you know, I also think that sustainability is not only what you talked about here, is our whole food chain.
Yeah.
Is we're basically greedy.
Mm-hmm.
And we want what we want, when we want it, and we just don't think, okay, eventually there's not going to be a salmon.
Yeah,
Or
I know.
there's not going to be a tuna. Or they're just going to be totally farm raised. And farm raised is not good.
Yeah, no, we learned about this a lot in my economics of the environment class. We discount heavily for the present. We don't really think about, a lot of humans don't think. That's why climate change, people don't think, they think it's a further off issue because it's not really affecting them now, even though it is. But people just think, it's a further off issue, we'll deal with it later. So yeah, people just don't really realize what's right here now. Yeah.
Is there a plan or a program that's going forward to change
and it's to satisfy everyone.
But are there people that are like only doing environmental?
Oh yeah, absolutely. There's definitely,
All the grants I got.
Yeah.
yep.
Will there be times, is it possible that this may change?
It is, and like I said previously, like I think a lot of this has to change through policy. Our government really has to mandate, like, oh, you have to do this. We still, the United States allows so many toxic chemicals to be in our products. So much so that Europeans are so concerned about us, they created an app where we can scan products and it'll tell us like, oh, this is a good product or not. And that was created in Europe just out of concern because our government allows so many toxic products. So.
Speaking of government, we have a petition in the back. If you haven't signed it yet, it's for the state of Florida for healthy and safe, clean water. And we want to get it on the amendment, or it's going to be an amendment, and that will make the government and businesses more responsible. So be sure, if you haven't already, it's on the table on the left. Sign the petition. So just leave it there and we'll mail it in.
It's a right to clean water.
Right.
But I wanted to ask you do you see a tendency that people like in your age, young people, they would go in the street for environment yet?
Yeah.
Could you repeat the question because it's hard to hear?
Yeah. She was asking. Oh.
I wonder, I mean, I think only about the times like how it was in America with Vietnam with the war, and how it was in Germany, that the people go finally in the street and they protest for the earth. If there's a tendency to that, because I think what we did our research is it's so difficult with politics and all these laws, and I think we cannot do anything. And I found out, I think the only way is really when we people really have to go out in the street one day and say, no, we cannot really do that to us anymore. This is our only planet we are having.
Yeah. I would say yes, definitely people are protesting. I think it depends where you are. But yes, I think definitely the mindset of my generation is this is an issue. And everybody knows it's an issue, which is very encouraging. So yeah, I would say we're definitely, people will go out to the streets. I know in Colorado there's a lot. I don't know about Florida, so I just moved here, so I don't really know. But
Colorado is where they're so short on water right now.
yeah.
And it's very obvious to them that there's a problem that's got to be.
Yeah.
No, like me completely zero. I lived out in Las Vegas for a long time.
Yeah,
That
that's.
was when I was 10 years old. I mean, it was such high levels. I mean, and now
It's completely gone. Yeah.
it's gone. Like it's down to the floor. Like you can see the floor up.
Yeah, that's a whole nother issue because Colorado a long time ago gave away their water rights. So actually the state of Colorado has a lot of water, but we gave it all to the states below us, so Arizona, California. And all of those are now drying up. So yeah. Yeah, yeah. Originally I was born in Colorado, so. Yep.
I think you made a good point, Carson, too. You said when you were on your college campus at first, you noticed that a lot of people were just uneducated.
Yeah.
And I noticed if it's not, I'm not saying make it a curriculum in school, but I'm thinking that's where it needs to start.
Maybe like a required course.
Is it needs to start with educating kids and stuff. Because I know you were kind of educating me when you were little. You would come to visit, we would go to the grocery store and they'd be bagging our stuff up, and he'd be like, nope, no bags. No bags. And he was like this high. So I was like, wow, this kid, like, he's so smart already.
I mean, definitely in Colorado, we definitely learn about it. I really think it depends on the state. I don't think in Florida they're learning about it. I don't think so.
Kids didn't know anything about what you were learning at
Yeah.
the time, and you were the same age as my son, and
Yeah.
we were just blown away by the things that you knew. So I think a lot of it starts there, and then us not wanting to leave that carbon footprint as we
Yeah.
get older, and then if we choose to make things ourselves and recycle things ourselves,
Yeah.
and create things in our home, make our own soaps and detergents. and
Exactly.
stuff. Like you said, it's the demand. continues to support them and start doing it our own way and doing things more naturally, because we've learned a certain way of doing things, that's where it kind of starts. And I've noticed in social media, I'm huge on social media platforms. I've noticed a lot, sorry, it starts with the ladies. I'm noticing a lot of younger women on social media platforms. They're encouraging things like nursing their babies instead of buying formula, promoting breastfeeding,
Sure.
and doing things more naturally around the home, like making their own soaps and stuff, so that those chemicals don't affect their babies.
Yeah.
We think about those things. It was a good point that brought around an earlier point. Like, we kind of, I think there's a new generation that's starting to think about, like, how are these chemicals going to affect my child? What about
Yeah.
the food that I put into their bodies? I want to make my child's food and purees and vegetables that I grow in my
More natural.
garden. But I'm noticing these girls doing these trends on social media and going all natural in their homes and promoting that. So that's pretty positive to see that, because other women watch that and they're like,
Sure.
it makes them think, like, what am I cleaning my countertops with? My baby's crawling on the floor
Yeah.
with Clorox. I think there is a huge change going on there, but I just think there needs to be more education. Is that something you can bring up with your university? Do they talk about that or promoting
No, yeah.
like that for younger kids,
Yeah, I mean, we did talk about it in my policy class, why are we required to take all these other courses and we're not required to take something like a course on climate change, which is our future. We learn about history, like, yes, history is important, but why not learn about the future too and be progressive about it?
Is there a science requirement where you go?
No, if it's,
You don't have, like,
no, we don't, no, at you only really take courses in your major. There's no, like, core requirements. Yeah. Yeah.
Is it true that fast foods are mainly responsible for cutting down rainforest?
I don't know the answer to that. I don't think so. I don't know, actually. Maybe.
Well, it stands to reason, cheap.
Sure. Oh, well, yeah, if you think about it that way.
But if we all ban fast food restaurants, that would be, and put out the word, this is, enjoy your hamburger, it's costing us the rainforest.
Yeah.
But I saw a film many years ago, I don't know if that exists now, but I don't know how true that is right now.
Okay, yeah, maybe. And I know a lot, there's a lot of issue around palm oil. I don't know if any of y'all know about palm oil. But that is in a lot of our food. And in Brazil, the Amazon rainforest, they are cutting down a lot of the rainforest just to grow palm oil, which is like you're losing all your biodiversity from the rainforest just for this one plant. And it's in a lot of our food. So if you ever see palm oil in food, don't buy it. Don't buy it.
But also don't fall for the fake foods being sold as environmental solution, which is Impossible Burger, bio milk, cultured oil. So those fake foods, they use E. coli, they use a quick fermentation process, and make something that's essentially worse than a genetically modified organism, and has never been tested on humans. Already approved. There's 19 factories in the United States pumping out these foods. Cultured oil tastes like oil but has no calories. Impossible Burger is impossible to digest. Also, stuff's really not healthy.
Yeah.
And obviously making food from raw ingredients.
Yeah.
That's the logical
Yeah.
solution.
Absolutely.
It's called packaging.
I know.
Packaging is obscene. We need a bulk store. Also, to buy bulk ingredients where you can refill your containers and so forth. I save all those plastic bags that things come in, but I'm wondering, like, what am I going to do with all these
Seriously.
things? I don't want to put them in the trash.
I know.
I've noticed some new companies are coming out with, like, okay, so I was buying Native, which is natural deodorant and stuff, right? But now they're coming out with, okay, you can buy from our company, but now we have a new cardboard applicator. So it's recyclable applicators and things like that. And I'm also noticing a lot of the foods that I'm purchasing in the stores, so many people have allergies, probably because of all this crap we've been eating.
Yeah.
But they're having a lot of food allergy issues with young children, and so a lot of companies are coming out with whole food products where it's like 5 ingredients or less.
Yeah.
I've noticed that.
That's great.
Check out our table in the back. We have a few of those food products, like shampoo bars and
Yeah, shampoo bars are great. Mm-hmm.
Like the rice water shampoo.
Yeah, it's just like a shampoo. It's just like a bar of soap, and you use it instead of this whole big plastic bottle. She has the laundry detergent sheets, which are also great, instead of buying a big plastic bottle of that. So there are solutions to all this pointless packaging.
Yeah, I wanted just to mention, that the latest edition of Real Simple magazine, I think it is, the whole thing is on sustainability, in terms of ways to recycle or to reuse things. And at first I started thinking, like, what am I gonna learn from this?
Mm-hmm.
But people wrote in and gave a lot of examples of how they, reuse things, you know, why they do that and different ways. And I was like flabbergasted that one, it's in a major magazine, and two, that it was really quite thoughtful, what they put together.
Sure.
So
Cool.
I think that was kind of hopeful.
Yeah, absolutely. That's awesome.
So, before we close, you said you did a special study on Thailand. Would you like to just share?
Yeah. So a lot of what I presented today was from my sustainable development class, and all throughout that class, we had a study country. So my study country was Thailand, which was pretty cool to study. And what we found is poverty is obviously very bad for the environment. You know, if you're desperate, you're not going to not choose plastic. You're going to choose the cheapest option. So Thailand's going a really cool way about it is they're trying to eradicate poverty, which is one of the sustainable development goals. And what they're doing is if you like make below a certain amount of money in the country, they write you a check every month and you're able to use that check for whatever. And it's had amazing effects on poverty rates in the country. You know, they've gone from like 40% like all the way down. It's like single digits. So that was pretty cool to learn about, and it has had really positive effects on the environment too. They're also starting to conserve a lot of land, which is what we need to start doing in the world, is conserving our land. So they started doing some of that, which is pretty cool to see, and they're doing great on all the sustainable development goals. So it was really cool to see a small country like Thailand doing something like that.
And you've been to Thailand?
Yep. Yeah.
I'm curious, like, why do you think it's working in Thailand and it's so difficult to bring something like that courageousness say, like the US?
Well, I think about this all the time, and I talk about it to my parents all the time. I think the U.S. is just so difficult because we are a melting pot of so many different cultures and ideas. Whereas maybe Thailand is more homogeneous, you can get more people to get on board. I don't know why it's so difficult in the U.S. I wish it wasn't. I don't really 100% know. But I think it has to do with we are a melting pot of a lot of different cultures, and there's a lot of different viewpoints. Yeah. Yeah, greed too. Yeah. Yeah. And consumerism, the American dream, right? Just like overconsumption and yeah. Just keep buying and buying. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
I'm so curious to know, I think, you know, even myself, I tend to be, I feel like I'm pretty conscious as a consumer, and I often feel like the drop in the ocean effect of how the heck am I gonna
Absolutely.
do you have a sense, even with the way you go through your day or in your studies, like leverage points? So if you could like, that's my puppy. If you could just share like, say, 5 leverage points as somebody went through their day, what are the things that they could do as like really impactful decisions, whether it's philosophically, books to read? I know that's kind of a big question.
Sure.
If you had like 5 things that you'd like everybody to know.
Sure. I mean, first, how do you transport yourself to your daily activities? Are you using a gas car? Is that car efficient? Are you using an electric car? Maybe public transportation? So that's the first thing, is how do you get around to your daily activities? And second, do you get a coffee in the morning? Do you get a new plastic cup every morning? Maybe bring, a reusable cup. I know Starbucks, I think they pay you, or you get a certain amount off your drink if you bring in your own cup. So think about how much cups you can save for that.
What was it?
No fast food.
Yeah. Yeah, fast food. Just really like as you go out about your day, think of, do I really need this? If I'm buying something, do I really need this? What is the
Containers in your car.
yeah, keep containers in your car.
All restaurants do.
Yep.
And buying things from secondhand stores. They're not
Yes,
getting
that's a great
all
one.
packages.
Yeah.
If it's something you can wash and clean or sterilize, I mean, you know, why do you need it new?
Yeah. Exactly. No, seriously. We have a thing that we all want new things in this country, and
Is that one thing, Carson, that I'm doing, because I tend to be very impulsive,
mhm.
is that if I go on Amazon, if somebody will suggest, oh, that's a neat idea, and I'll go on, and, okay, that's good, oh, that's.
Yeah.
But then I will put it in the cart, and the next day I review the cart.
Mhm.
Do you really need it?
Yeah.
And I still won't do it, and the next day I do it again, and then maybe I've got 5 things there,
Mhm.
and I look at them, and I says, okay, all you really need is one.
Mhm.
And the other thing is, I think, again, with Amazon, is that we're so used to Amazon Prime, we have to have it now.
Yeah.
And then what they're doing, they're giving you still free shipping, but if you order 3 things, have it all come in the same box the same day. You may have to wait 5 days for it,
Mhm.
but instead of the instant gratification,
Exactly.
it's okay
To wait. Yeah.
but I think like especially as Americans, we don't like to be told no.
No, we don't.
That you
No.
can't have, you can't do.
Mhm.
And I think it's one thing that's always thrown out at us, especially all this development,
Mhm.
well, you're putting people out of work. So as soon as they say that, it's kind of like, oh, we've got to do it. It doesn't matter that there's no water for that development,
Mhm.
but what about all the people you're putting out of work?
Yep.
And progress all the time puts people out of work.
Yeah. There's new industries created though for
You go back to my day
Mhm.
with telephone operators or
Mhm.
something, and the computers, you know, this room would be filled with computers. Well, guess what? There's no more telephone operators, but new jobs were created. So
Mhm.
we've got to stop living in fear. And now we don't have those big rooms filled with computers. It's like right here.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. We got to stop living in fear and not fear progress.
A lot of fear.
Yep. Yep. Okay. Any other? Yeah. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Thank you.